Former President Trump and 18 co-defendants have all pleaded not guilty and waived their arraignments, which were set for this morning. They are accused of conspiring to overturn the 2020 presidential election in the state of Georgia and have all pleaded not guilty. Joining us now, White House correspondent for The Hill, Alex Gangitano. Alex, thank you for being with us. Anything unexpected in today's court proceedings so far?
You know, so far, I think we all expected these not guilty pleas, I think, of course, from the former president, but from everybody else. But what we're really watching for is now how this plays out and which defendants kind of try to turn the tables on Trump to save themselves. I think one person is definitely former Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, that everybody's watching to see how much he wants to reveal about the former president's efforts to overturn the 2020 election and lean into the fact that we've already seen him kind of allude to that it really was the former president leading the charge here, and he's really the person who is guilty here and not the other defendants.
Right. So their goal, put the blame on the former president and deflect any blame from themselves. The other thing is the likelihood of separate trials. Can you talk more about the strategy by a few of these co-defendants to have their case looked at separately?
Yeah, so if you separate some of the trials or make them a federal case versus a Georgia case, they can then, take out some of the convictions that, are piling up against the former president and these other co-defendants. I mean, Meadows in particular wanted to move it to a federal trial because he said that he was a federal official at the time of the election, and so trying to use that argument. But I think it also would just allow for some of these defendants to be looked at outside of the realm of how huge the situation was at the time and just what their specific role in it. Whereas right now, we have 19 people that are all kind of mushed together as this was part of this grand conspiracy that they all were a part of. And it does, to their defense, make it seem like everybody had such a huge hand in all of it.
Yeah, more than 40 counts. So the Georgia trial set for March, do we see that changing?
Right now, it was already an effort to have it land on that March date. I think it could stay at that date. And it's, of course, as we all know, a tough date. It's around the time of the caucuses. And so for former President Trump, it's a time when Republicans will be deciding if they want him to be his nominee or not. And so I think the political implications of all of it could cause some rethinking about the date. But right now, it seems like it's set.
So we're talking about the next GOP debate. The primary for the Republican Party is about 5 months from now. I mean, to have this happening while all this is going on is tremendous. Let's talk a bit about the Republican campaign. A lot of folks are spending a lot of time in New Hampshire right now. You see Mike Pence just a moment ago in a town hall there. How important is that state when so much focus has been on Iowa as of late?
Yeah, it's just as important as Iowa at this point. We're, of course, seeing them all flood to Iowa, but also to New Hampshire, because like you said, I mean, New Hampshire is a rural, state. There's a lot of blue-collar workers, and those are all people that the Republican Party wants to bring back into the coalition. These union labor votes and things that former President Trump in 2016 was able to secure some of that, and then Biden got some back from these blue-collar workers in 2020. So I think they know that they need to focus on these people, these northern states. They want to be able to create some sort of red wave up there as well. So it's definitely smart to focus on that as much as they're focusing on Iowa, and to also secure it, between the infighting between one another and try to set each other apart, like we're seeing former Vice President Mike Pence do, and try to, make the claim why he should be the nominee as opposed to a Trump or DeSantis or the folks that are polling above him.
Yeah, thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.